It is my honor to stand here today among the distinguished leaders and Rabbanim of Yeshivat Rabbeinu Yitzchak Elchanan, to stand in the presence of President Richard Joel, to whom I am deeply grateful, not just for the opportunity to speak today, but for his graciousness and kindness in assisting me in every step of the way during this time of transition. It's an honor to be in the presence of our past president and Rosh HaYeshiva, Rabbi Dr. Norman Lamb, our Rosh HaYeshiva, the heart and soul of our rabbinic program, who faithfully and lovingly transmits the Torah Emet to our students, our professional team, including the Dean of Reitz, Rabbi Menachem Penner, his staff, the rabbis and teachers of the CJF, and the entire administration of Yeshiva University, who together with the lay leadership, the Board of Reitz, under the chairmanship of Rabbi Joel Schreiber, worked tirelessly and tenaciously to provide our students with the tools for success. It is certainly a distinct honor and privilege to participate in the Chag HaSemikhah with our illustrious honorees. It's an event that I'll remember for the rest of my life to be here in honor of Rav Herschel Schachter and my uncle, Rabbi Julius Berman. And most especially this afternoon, it's a great honor to stand before you, our dear Talmidim. You are our joy and our treasure. You have immersed yourselves these past years in the Mayim Shel Torah, in arduous study and professional training. Your energy and vitality, your goodness and fine character, your life choices and life ambitions give us all enormous pride. Mazal Tov on reaching this important milestone in your lives. Over the past number of months, I've had the great pleasure of meeting a number of our fine musmachim. Allow me to share with you one particular encounter. A number of weeks ago, I was introduced to a young man, and I asked him to tell me a little bit about his experiences. Tell me what it's like to study at Reitz. He replied by telling me about a very difficult personal situation that arose several years ago. Even with the distance of time, it was clear that the situation was too emotionally charged for him to describe in detail. But whatever the exact circumstances, the situation required expert halachic guidance. So he approached his Rabbi, one of the senior Rosh Yeshiva in this institution, told him about his personal problem, and asked him for his counsel. Do you know what his response was? The young man asked me. My Rebbe began to cry. It was one of the darkest moments in my life. There wasn't much that anyone could give me, but he gave me his tears. My family and I look back on that difficult time with much grief and regret, but completely intertwined with that experience is the memory of a rabbi who both answered my she'elah and honored my pain. We will never forget that as long as we live. This is the story of a person whose life was transformed by an encounter with a rabbinic leader. And it raises a broader question. What does it mean to be a rabbi? What does it take for a rabbi to be a transformative force in this world? I suggest that the answer may lie in an interesting Talmudic teaching. The Torah commands, V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, love the Lord your God. While this verse seems straightforward, the Gemara in Yoma cites a rabbinic interpretation that uncovers a new and additional layer. The Tanya, we learn in the Braita, V'ahavta et Hashem Elokecha, she'eshem shamayim mitahev al yadcha. What does it mean to love the Lord your God, that the name of God should become beloved through you? How can a mere human being make God's name even more beloved? The Braita continues, she'ekore v'shoneh, you should read Torah and learn Mishnah. M'shamesh talmidei chachamim, serve Torah scholars. V'hemaso matno benachat im habriot, and be pleasant with people in all of one's interactions. Such a person makes the name of God even more beloved in this world. Now, there's a debate amongst the commentaries exactly how to understand this teaching. The simple reading of the Breita, which appears to be accepted by all of the Rishonim who simply cite the Breita verbatim, is that it is addressed to each person as part of the command to love your God, and as such applies to each and every individual. Rambam, however, in codifying this law, specifically applies it to an Adam Gadol Batorah, a Chacham, a sage. And he removes it from the context of the mitzvah of loving God, instead placing it in the context of the mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, sanctifying God's name in this world. In fact, Rambam develops an important idea that this mitzvah fluctuates according to the sage's greatness. Hakol lefi gadlo shel chacham. Now, this is part of a broader theme, some of which Rav Shechter touched on in relating to the Gemara, but also a broader theme that runs throughout Rambam's works about the notion of a chacham. But for the moment, I only wish to highlight that according to Rambam, the chacham is not only required to abide by a higher standard, but he is also distinguished by a unique set of opportunities. In this case, the one who is identified and recognized as a chacham has a unique opportunity to sanctify God's name in this world. People judge religion by its adherents. Their experiences of Judaism, Torah, and Hashem are shaped and inspired by their interactions with his messengers. On some level, this applies to all of us who are clearly identified and marked as Jews, but even more so when it comes to rabbis. As such, the concept of receiving smichah today carries with it great consequences. For each of you today who are being publicly recognized as musmachim are not just being rewarded for your years of study and the knowledge you have amassed, but you're also being granted an enormous opportunity to make a huge impact in the world in which we live. How can you capitalize on this opportunity? How can you effectively utilize your strengths to sanctify God's name in this world? Using the Breita as a homiletic guide, I'd like to suggest a three-prong strategy. The first suggestion is to speak with chachma, with wisdom. And to do this, you must learn deeply. Shehei koreh v'shoneh. Your greatest resource is the Torah. Your greatest strength is that you represent the 3,000-year-old tradition. You must be sure to do so judiciously and authentically. And so you must be learned. You have already succeeded in completing a rigorous process of smichah that required you to have displayed a mastery of Torah, but as Rav Shechter just said before, you must continue your studies. The vistas of Torah are vast and deep, and you must explore them with great passion and vigor. But more than just developing as lamdanim, as rabbis, you will also need to develop a deep understanding of the broader world and modern reality. You will need to speak directly to the hopes and concerns of this generation. In the words of Matthew Arnold, to the thoughts which make the furniture of their minds, and directly relate to the specific challenges and opportunities of our times. Now, this may sometimes require you to challenge some elements of contemporary culture, but to be an effective and respected countercultural voice, as opposed to one who is written off as simply out of touch with reality, you need to acquire a deep familiarity with the intellectual and cultural metzias of our day. In applying Torah to reality, there are two requirements in order for one to speak with Chachma. One, to know the Torah, and two, to know reality. The second suggestion is that you must act with anava, with humility. U'mishamesh talmidei chachamim. Know what you know, and know what you do not know. As the Mishnah says, the wise man is not the one who knows everything, but the one who continuously learns from others. Be secure in yourself to seek advice and counsel. This is, of course, true in respect to your rabbis, teachers, and peers. You have a large support network here at Yeshiva University that will always be ready to assist you. I myself, all throughout my years in the rabbinate until today, have been deeply blessed with the ability to turn to my rabbis and teachers at yeshiva as resources and guides who have helped me think through complex and consequential challenges. But it's also true of your lay leadership, parents, and students. Our community is filled with thoughtful professionals, sensitive parents, and people of substance with a wealth of experience. They have much to offer and much from which you can learn. Take advantage of their insights. Learn from their life lessons. They are not just your parishioners, they are also your partners. You will need to lead and speak with wisdom, but also come to your new role with the humility to learn from all those around you. Impart chachma, exude anava. The third suggestion is to act with ahava. Vahi masa'o matno b'nachat im habriot. I only began to generally understand the possibility of loving someone outside of one's family as oneself after working as a rabbi. For my community became my extended family. Working with them day and night, building our shul, facing deficits and challenges, formulating ambitious plans for expansion and success, grieving with them over the loss of a loved one, adding a name to a sick child who suddenly fell perilously ill, or celebrating the birth of a child to a couple who previously thought that they would never have children. I thought of them in my personal tefillot, spent sleepless nights considering ways to ease their troubles, and felt true joy upon hearing about their successes and triumphs. This too is what you've learned by word and by example from your Rabbeim and teachers at yeshiva, that the job of the rabbi, educator, and spiritual guide is to love your students and your congregants, to be moved by them and inspired by them. If you are to be rabbis, you must impart chachma, exude anava, but you must live with ahava, with love. And if you do so, you will make God's name more beloved in this world. You, our dear Talmidim, have an enormous gift, an enormous opportunity. And this is especially true today. There are those who think that in today's climate of skeptical nihilism and personal autonomy, in which claims to authority or transformative leadership are mocked, that the role of the rabbi, educator, and spiritual guide is diminished. But in truth, the opposite is the case. It is even more necessary today. People naturally seek meaning and purpose. They will always find their role models and sources of inspiration. The question is whether they'll find it outside of our tradition or within our tradition. The rabbi is certainly needed, but what kind of rabbi? What does it take for a rabbi to be a transformative force in this world? Today, perhaps more than ever before, it is to embrace the formula of chachma, anava, and ahava. It is the rabbi who speaks with sophistication and humility, who views the Jewish world not through the prism of allies and adversaries, but of partners and potential partners. It is the rabbi who, when faced with a halachic dilemma, responds not only to the question, but also to the person, who not only has the depth of knowledge to know the answers, but also the humanity to cry. It is the rabbi who is not fueled by fury or self-righteousness, but by love, care, and concern. It is this kind of rabbi who is deeply needed in our world. This is your gift, and this is your opportunity. You as rabbis, educators, and spiritual guides can show by word and deed that personal engagement with Torah and mitzvot, that living a life that accents service over entitlements, giving as opposed to receiving a life in which one participates in the incredible unfolding story of the Jewish people and seeks the betterment of the broader society, that such a life is filled with great meaning, purpose, and true joy. You can bring God into this world. you can sanctify his name and sanctify the lives of all those around you. What a gift. What a bracha. Ashrecha. What an inspiring and meaningful way to challenge your energies and devote your unique talents and skills. Let me close then with the bracha mentioned at the end of the Braita according to the Girsa of the Rosh. At the end of the Braita, we're told that if one behaves with chachma, anava, and ahava, ma habriot, omrot olav. What will people say about such a person? Ashrei aviv, ashrei imo, ashrei rabo. Fortunate his father, his mother, and his teacher who taught him Torah. And let me take this moment to wish a mazel tov to all of the wonderful fathers and mothers, the grandfathers and grandmothers, all who have raised you and nurtured you and are so proud of you, are so proud to see you reach this moment in your lives. To your wives, who are your partners in this incredible journey. And to the Rabbeim, how meaningful this moment must be for all of you to see your Talmidim reach this stage in their lives. Ashrei aviv, ashrei imo, ashrei rabo. Ru'u kama na'im derachav, kama mutukanim ma'asav. Alav ha'katuv omer, vayomer li, avdi ata Yisrael, asher b'cha et pe'er. See how pleasant are his ways. See how proper are his deeds. It's about him that God says, you are my servant Israel, in whom I will be glorified. May the Navi's words of praise be said about you, our Talmidim as well. May you continue to be a source of great pride to our yeshiva and to your families. May you be a blessing to all those with whom you come into contact. And through your actions, may God's name become even more beloved in this world. We need you. The world needs you. Alu v'hatzlichu. Rise up and find great success.